Welcome back to the 70,000-year secret of humankind. In previous episodes, we've journeyed through the defining eras of sapiens, from obscure hunter-gatherers to the tumultuous agricultural revolution. Today, we dive into one of the most dramatic and influential chapters in human history, the Industrial Revolution. A wave of change that swept across the planet, from the roar of steam to the whispers of artificial intelligence. Discover how a simple idea unlocked unprecedented powers and forever reshaped our destiny. For thousands of years, human life changed little. Villages were located along rivers, fields were tilled by human and animal power, and everything was produced by hand at a slow pace. Our main energy sources were our own muscles and those of animals, along with wind, water, and the sun. Innovation came slowly, and the prevailing belief was that the world was set, with little need for major change. But then, in the 18th century, a slow shift began, ushering in an era where rapid change would become the rule, not the exception. The start of the Industrial Revolution was not a single event, but a series of discoveries and innovations. One of the main drivers was the urgent need for energy. As populations grew and forests were cleared for fuel, people began to look for alternative sources of energy. Coal, long known, was eventually seen as the answer. But coal was not easy to mine. Mines were often flooded, requiring an efficient means of pumping the water out. This is where the steam engine came in. Invented initially by Thomas Newcomen and later perfected by James Watt, the steam engine converted coal into work, a huge and controllable amount of energy. The power of steam liberated humans from the limitations of muscle power and traditional energy sources. No longer dependent on the flow of water or the direction of the wind, factories could be built wherever coal was available. The textile industry was one of the first to be revolutionized. Mechanical spinning and automatic looms increased productivity hundreds of times, transforming cloth production from a slow, manual task into a large-scale industrial process. Product costs fell dramatically. Goods became more accessible to a large population, creating a whole new consumer market. But steam didn't just transform manufacturing, it also revolutionized transportation. Trains, propelled by steam engines, turned travel across continents from a journey of weeks to a matter of days. Cities were connected, goods were transported more quickly and cheaply, and people could move in search of work or opportunity in far-flung places. Likewise, steamships crossed oceans faster and more reliably than sailboats, dramatically expanding global trade networks. The world suddenly became smaller and more interconnected than ever. The relentless growth of factories drew millions from the countryside into the cities. Big cities boomed, but often brought with them new social problems. Crowded slums, harsh working conditions, severe pollution, and a widening gap between the rich and the poor. Traditional societies, based on families and rural communities, began to crumble. In their place came an industrial society, where individuals were forced into factory routines and fixed hours. Life was no longer defined by the seasons or traditional festivals, but by the whistle of factories and the rhythm of mass production. The 19th century saw the continuation and expansion of the Industrial Revolution. Coal and steam continued to dominate, but new scientific discoveries paved the way for further innovations. Steel became the primary building material, stronger and more versatile than iron. Industrial chemistry developed, creating new dyes, fertilizers, and explosives. Electricity, initially a scientific curiosity, was finally tamed and transformed into the second energy source of the revolution. Edison's light bulb, Tesla's power plant. Electricity lit up cities, powered factories, and transformed nightlife. At the turn of the 20th century, the Industrial Revolution entered its second phase, often referred to as Industrial Revolution 2.0. This was the age of electricity, mass production, and the internal combustion engine. Henry Ford introduced the assembly line to produce cars at low cost, transforming them from a luxury item into a common vehicle. Petroleum became a major new energy source, fueling the development of cars, trucks, and airplanes. Telecommunications, with telephones and radios, connected people around the world almost instantly, breaking down barriers of distance and time. Economies became more complex, large corporations emerged, and governments faced new challenges in managing a rapidly changing world. After World War II, the world entered a new era of technological innovation, the Information Revolution, or Industrial Revolution 3.0. The advent of electronic computers, initially bulky and used only for military purposes, rapidly shrank and became more powerful. Transistors, integrated circuits, microprocessors, each advancement increased information processing capabilities and reduced costs. The Internet, originally a military network, opened up to the public and transformed the world into a truly global village. Information exploded, knowledge became more accessible than ever, and new industries such as software and digital media sprang up like mushrooms after a rain. Our daily lives were reshaped by email, web browsers, and mobile devices. And now, we are at the threshold of the fourth industrial revolution, an era where the lines between the physical, digital, and biological worlds are blurring. Artificial intelligence, AI, big data analytics, the Internet of Things, IoT, 3D printing, biotechnology, and robotics are converging to create an unprecedented transformation. AI, one of the most advanced technologies, promises to change every aspect of life, from self-driving cars to medical diagnosis, from creating art to managing supply chains. AI is learning, adapting, and even surpassing human capabilities in many fields. We are witnessing the birth of machines that not only follow orders, but are also capable of making decisions, learning from experience, and even inventing. But with this great power comes great questions. The first industrial revolution created giant factories, but also caused pollution and terrible working conditions. The information revolution brought connectivity, but also raised issues of privacy and misinformation. Now, the fourth industrial revolution and AI promise a future of great potential, but also pose profound challenges about work, ethics, control, and the nature of human existence. Will AI free us from toil, or will it create a new useless class? Can we control the intelligent machines we are creating? And most importantly, how do we want to envision the future of sapiens with AI? Looking back at this entire journey, from the first steam engine to the most complex AI algorithms, we see a consistent theme. Sapiens have continually sought to subdue nature, unleash its power, and remake the world to their liking. Each revolution has brought dramatic increases in energy, production, and connectivity, but also unforeseen consequences, new social problems, and profound philosophical questions about what it means to be human. We have become the architects of this planet, and now we stand on the threshold of becoming the architects of consciousness itself. So what has driven all this rapid change? What has driven humanity's relentless quest for growth, innovation, and progress despite the risks and costs? That's a question we'll explore further in the next episode of The 70,000-Year-Old Secret. We'll learn about a powerful ideology, an unwavering belief in growth and expansion that accompanied the Industrial Revolution and continues to shape our world to this day, the capitalist revolution. Why is this belief in growth so powerful? Don't miss episode 24.